Well, about 12 years ago, I was living in the middle of a volcanic lake in the country of El Salvador. And what happened was I guess you could call it the veil kept dropping, and I kept finding myself in this other dimension. And I never had any real connection to New Age things. I didn't know anything about shamanism or anything like that. But then all of a sudden, my entire third dimensional reality disintegrated. And then I was hit by a very strange light in the middle of the night on my 52nd birthday, which I found out later is a very significant time in the Mayan calendar. So when that happened, I could only see the world through the eyes of sacred geometry. So anything I looked at, anything I saw was all triangles. In fact, to this day, certain things I can only see as triangles. So when that happened, I also had downloads of certain information. And then I was initiated by a group of power animals. They were jaguars for 2 years. And literally I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I would start class. And I could hear them. They talked to me just like I'm talking to you. And then I reached a high vibrational level that I was manifesting almost immediately, which became extremely dangerous. And so my best way out was I left my home there because the energy there was too much for what was happening to me. I didn't have any template for what was occurring. So I went to the US. I tried to get help there. I ended up in mental hospitals, diagnosed with all kinds of goofy names of things. And then finally I got out, and then I sought a spiritual answer, traveled all over the world, met healers from a lot of different places. I was actually healed by a spontaneous Navajo man who came to find me. And after that happened, I realized that I had, something very important had happened to me. I didn't really want to pursue anything anymore, but I did have a very well-known mentor who was a psychic and also a shamanic practitioner from Haiti. And they grabbed me and put me under their wings and helped me to understand what had happened. There was a destiny involved, and I wrote about it in my book, The Disintegration of My Ordinary Reality, as to why why all this happened to me, because there was an actual purpose for waking me up. But after that, I just knew how I had already been initiated into shamanism by spirits, which is usually how the indigenous people are initiated. I didn't go to class. I did go to class. I did study one time with Michael Harner, but it was mostly for him to explain to me what I knew. It wasn't like I needed to learn it. So it was helpful just to put it into perspective and have kind of a template for what had happened. So then after that, I started doing healing work. It's there in Sedona. And at that point, I could just see in the body. I knew what was wrong. I had a sense of illness. I could detect different things that were going on with people. And so I used just these skills that I had no idea, never really knew how to use them. I was just told what to do. So I just listened to a group, and this is a group of 13 Mayan ancestors whose goal is to heal us, help heal us on our planet. And so they just started talking to me, and they told me what to do. They would be driving home to an appointment, and they'd say, "Stop, you've got to go buy this crystal over at this store." I'd buy the little crystal, I'd take it home. That's the one I needed for the session. So I was just being guided. There was really there was no magic from me. The magic was always from the spirits. Like I always say, no spirits, no shaman. because that's the way shamanism works. It's through, they use you as a vessel. So I started to realize that it was really difficult for me to actually tell people what I was seeing. In other words, I would see this disorder, or I would see maybe a tumor starting to grow, or I would see energy feeding a cyst, or I would see a microorganism, or I would see a fungus, but I didn't know what it was. I just saw things. So I was looking, I was just on my computer one day, and this is kind of how they work with me, is things just drop in. So this program, New Vision, dropped in, and I started to look at it, and I was getting a very strong impression from my group that I should pursue it. So I talked to the people who had the program. They said, I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a, official, homeopath or anything. And they said, what are you? I said, I can see things. And they said, this is perfect. You're the perfect person for this program, because that's what this program needs to really have it be in a dynamic way. So I started using it, and it was really interesting because usually if I get some new technology, I need someone to sit next to me for like 5 days and teach it to me. And I knew how to use it. And I didn't even do the training because I knew exactly what to do. So that told me I had probably done this program before somewhere, or they just dropped in the knowledge that I needed to understand it. So I started using it, and I remember asking my colleagues, what's the success rate with this? And they said, well, if you can put all the pieces together that you see in the program, it's like 99% accurate. Mm. And when I heard that, I was like, come on, health can't, finding out someone's problem can't be that, accurate. But I made a goal that I would scan 1,000 people. And after I scanned the 1,000 people, I said, I'm going to, just dedicate my time only to this. And I have been at that now for about 4 to 5 years. I love tough cases. I love to, when someone has been to 10 doctors and they can't figure out what's wrong, I love those cases because I can be like the detective and really put the pieces together for them and then design a program for wellness. That was a very quick story for 10 years.
Yeah, right. Wow. So I definitely want to go back to your process of awakening and hear more detail about that. But before we do, explain, please, what New Vision is. What is the technology? What does it do?
Well, it uses scalar energy. And, for those of you who understand scalar energy, the best way to understand it's the fluid energy that moves between particles. So scalar energy is chi, it's prana, it's prayer. So it's the energy that moves between all things. So what the program does is it through a birth date, a birthplace, and a name, it can actually, with really, really good accuracy, it can find you on a holographic field. So I find Jonathan, okay. And then I have, over the years, whatever I want to find out about Jonathan, I load in those same identifiers. So for example, I might say, well, I want to know, I'm going to put in, 15,000 homeopathic remedies. So the system will give each one of those an identifier as well. So now I can go to Jonathan, and Jonathan says, well, I've got a stuffy nose today. I don't know what's really the best remedy. Well, I have identified you, and I've identified 15,000 homeopathic remedies. And now what New Vision does is it